This is Andy Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by promoter Frank Warren here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Frank, it's a pleasure as always. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Andy. I'm doing really well. I'm looking forward to this magnificent card on Saturday here in Riyadh. Four unbelievable world title fights featuring our two of our Brits, and the main event is a belter of a fight between Benn and Anthony Yard. That's a cracker of a fight. And the undercard with those other three world title fights on, you've got 12 undefeated fighters all fighting each other. That very rarely, well, I don't think it ever happens, to be quite honest.
Let's start off with Anthony, Frank. Obviously, you've been there from day one. You've guided him to previous world title occasions, although he's fallen short. How much will those experiences against Beterbiev and Kovalev prove to service him well on Saturday night against David Benavidez?
Look, he's an experienced campaigner now. He came in with limited amateur experience. He only had 12 fights as an amateur, and he's basically had to learn on the job. Him and his manager trained at Tundi, and as you say, they've had two world title fights. One of them he could have won that. He weren't far off of winning. He had him trouble, and he gave Beterbiev, I think, his toughest fight before he fought Bivol. A real tough fight, and was well in the fight until the stoppage. He's in a game with a really, really good quality fighter in Benavidez. He's 30-0. It's a tough fight, but look, he's a tough guy himself. You won't have to go looking for him. As soon as that bell goes, he'll be there in it. And I'm hoping that there'll be, as Benavidez said he would, there'll be a bit of a shootout.
I know the fight obviously has to happen yet, but just on a personal note, if he was to have his hand raised, Anthony, that is, how happy would you be to have obviously been there through that journey to see him become the new light heavyweight world champion?
I said in an earlier interview, you hear me screaming more than anybody else in delight for him. I mean, it'd be a tremendous journey that he's been on, and it'd be tremendous that he's got there at the end. This is stuff that dreams are made of.
And of course you have Sam Noakes there, looking to overcome Abdullah Mason for that vacant WBO strap as well. This is a fight which many can't quite split because neither man has fought somebody maybe of the ilk of each other. What's going to be the difference? What's going to be the main factor for Sam to have his hand raised on Saturday?
Well, again, they both come through the Queensbury from beginning, day one. They've been with Queensbury, and I'm delighted to see that we managed to guide them and get them into the positions they're in. I don't quite agree with that Abdullah Mason's a very, very good fighter. He's a young man. He's done everything he's been asked. He's been on the floor, but he's got off the floor and won fights. Sam, he's been in every title fight we've put him into. He's won. And he had a real good win, a points win, with a good fighter he beat. And that showed another dimension to him. He actually went out there and used his boxing brain. So he's not a one-trick pony. But I tell you what, for somebody who's got desire, work rate, Abdullah's going to know he's been in a fight, and I genuinely believe that Sam has a great opportunity to win the world title on Saturday night.
You mentioned that word work right there. We know what Sam brings. He's relentless for those 12 rounds, and he can take it deep if he was to go that way. Do you feel like that's going to be an important factor to take into Saturday night, trying to maybe get through those first few rounds, and then if the later it goes, the more it'll suit Sam?
I think it's great to know that he's capable of doing that, and he's got that in the bank. And of course, I don't want to be waiting those later rounds. I want him to go out there and be the boss as soon as the bell goes. That's what he'll do. He's not going to go. This fella won't have to go looking for Sam. Sam doesn't fight like that. He won't have to go looking for him. He'll be there. He'll be there in front of him. His head will be on his shoulder, and he'll be letting those shots go. So Abdullah, and they're really, top-ranked fighter, and Brad Jacobs here and Carl Moresi here are good friends. We were talking about it. They fancy their man, I fancy mine, and it'd be great to, it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a great fight, but we're going to find out a lot about both of them.
Obviously, last week at the Tottenham ground, Frank, a couple of very close and unfortunate defeats for yourself. Obviously, Eko Esserman, Sam Gilly, Eko Esserman. Bit of a controversial one with how that one came about. What did you make of that fight with Jack Catterall?
I watched it on the box. It was a bit controversial. Look, I'm not going to be a crybaby about it, but Eko's he's a really lovely guy, and it was sad in some ways that it ended that way. But look, it is what it is, and he's got to regroup and come back, because no one's going to. We're not going to be able to change the decision by moaning about it, whatever. But look, it was unsatisfactory.
Obviously, Sam Gillies an incredibly close fight with Ishmael Davies.
Very close fight. I mean, they give a great account of himself, and he's got nothing to be not ashamed of, but he's got nothing to feel sorry about. He bloody showed what he's all about, and he can come again.
What did you make of Conor Benn's victory over Chris Eubank Jr.?
I thought Conor done very well. He obviously studied and learnt from the first fight and went out and composed himself and had a game plan and worked behind his jab and done a job. I thought Chris Eubanks looked crap.
Do you think that's Eubank done now, Frank, or say he was to move to 168? I thought that's always been touted as one between him and Hamza. Would you still hold an interest if maybe he was to put his hat in the ring for that fight?
I've got to be honest, but I'm not interested in that fight at the moment. And Chris, he's falls short every time he steps up. That's a fact of life. He's not a baby. He's 36 years of age. He's not next generation. He's 36 years of age. He's had another opportunity, and it wasn't for the world title. It wasn't for the world title. It was bragging rights between two families. That's what it was, and it was at that level. The story for me should not be about Chris Eubanks. It should be about Conor Benn and what Conor Benn can do. And I don't know whether they're talking about Conor going down now. I don't know whether he can go down. He's not made that weight for 2 years, has he? And he had time out the ring, and he's had these two fights. So who knows whether he can make that weight? This might wind up being his natural weight. I don't know.
Frank, up to the heavyweights, Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. What do you make of seeing those two collide on December 19th?
They're in it for, it's professional. They're a professional fight game. They're in it for money. That's why they're there. On paper, AJ's a massive favourite. He's a natural heavyweight, two-time world champion, Olympic gold medalist. We've all seen him. He can punch, he can bang. You see what he's done to Ngannou. Jake Paul, I don't think he's had amateur experience. He's had 12 fights, I think, starting off as a YouTuber, but trains as a fighter now and has become a professional fighter. He's licensed. People criticised him about some of his opponents, which some I think is a little bit unfair considering he's had no experience. Having said that now, he's stepping up and above and beyond, and he's coming in at cruiser. I mean, he's a cruiserweight, and he's, I don't know, he's even a natural cruiserweight, but he's coming in as cruiserweight. He fancies the job. AJ in his last fight was comprehensively beaten by Daniel Dubois. Was on the floor a few times. Is he gambling on that when he gets in there, he can catch him on the whiskers? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what their tactics are or their plan is. All I know is that everybody will watch it. On paper, it's a car crash for me. That people will tune in because you look at car crashes when you're driving past, and they'll make some decent money. So if they make money and hopefully nobody gets badly hurt, I'm delighted for both of them.
Just one final one on that, Frank. Obviously, within boxing circles and in those fans who have tuned in, there's a lot of expectation on Anthony Joshua's shoulders that he produces quite a quick night's work. Do you echo that? Do you see this just going one way?
Do I see it going one way? Well, if AJ, listen, I don't know if he takes a shot or not, but he's a bigger man. AJ's got a lot of power. If he catches him, he catches most people. He'll knock them over. That's really it, and that's why we're going as a big favourite.
So we saw on Saturday Turkey mentioned AJ fighting in Riyadh in February, and then maybe teased a potential Fury fight next year. Do you think that's the plan?
That's a great plan. I mean, it's a great plan, and we'll see whether Tyson wants to do that.
And just to end up on Fabio Wardley, your new heavyweight king, just your thoughts on seeing him crowned the WBO champion now he's been vacated?
I'm delighted for him. It's not the way he would like to win the title, I know that, but Alex made a decision to vacate the title because he's obviously, I think he looks at risk and reward, and probably for him that's obviously where his decisions come from. Fabio deserves to be there. He beat the WBO interim champion in Joe Parker, and he beat Joe Parker, who most people ranks number 1 or 2 in the world, and done it in style. What I mean by in style, with sensational fashion, with that knockout. So And he's done that in his last three fights, and he's done that to, I think, all but one of his opponents knocked him out. He's a tremendous puncher, no amateur background. I'm really pleased with him. It's a real success story. And again, you know, it's I'm glad he's with. I'm really pleased he come on board with Queensberry, and we delivered for him.
Do you think there's any chance Usyk tries to take that fight now? He has a chance to call himself a three-time undisputed champion if he did.
Well, he may want to do that. That ain't a problem with us. That door's open. It was open to do the fight in the first place.
Frank, just one more. Daniel Dubois withdrawing from the Frank Sanchez IBF eliminator. What can you tell me?
Well, it's a pointless fight for him to be involved in. You know, the IBF have already got their mandatory challenger, so this fight would mean that the winner of that, which I believe would have been our man, would now be the second mandatory coming on. The next IBF is not due for a while yet, and then they'd have to wait another year before that happened because of the way things are going on with the defences of these titles. So it's a pointless exercise. And if he'd have gone through with it, he would have lost his position in the other governing bodies. So we're looking to make bigger and better fights for him, and that's what we'll do. And he'll be back. He'll be back in the next quarter of next year.
Yeah, appreciate your time as always, Frank. Obviously, good luck to everybody tomorrow night.
Cheers, my old son. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Cheers.